Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider is a show about a man in his 40s who wants to be a superhero so desperately that he goes into the woods and wrestles with a grizzly bear to get stronger. I mean, if that's not hilarious enough to make you want to see this anime, I don't know what else I can say. But, of course, if you want to know more, let's go on. Let's continue with this. Kamen Rider is a crazy, wild superhero Japanese TV series from the 70s about a guy who is part human, part cyborg. He wears a mask that kind of looks like an insect. He rides around on a motorcycle, hence the title, Kamen Rider. Kamen is the Japanese word for mask. Kamen Rider, masked rider. You get it? Anyway, he fights bad guys. He jumps around with crazy kicks and martial arts. He has super strength. And, you know, he was all the rage back in the 70s. This was a very popular, very influential live-action series back in the day. It influenced an entire genre of shows called tokusatsu, which all involve, like, superheroed masked fighters. Remember Power Rangers? Okay. Well, in Japan, that was a tokusatsu series, kind of like Kamen Rider, called Super Sentai. And it was one of the early examples of a tokusatsu that instead of a lone hero, it involved a whole team of characters working together. And it got Americanized, and it came here to the States and became Power Rangers. It's a completely different show in Japan. In fact, you should really look up what the original Power Rangers, the Japanese version, was like, because it's fucking wild. It's crazy. Way better than what we got here in the States. I mean, just phenomenally crazy show. You should go check it out. There's footage of it online. Just go check. It's awesome. Super Sentai is what it was originally called. Anyway, very popular genre, mostly aimed at children, even though it was very, like, over the top and kind of awesome. Like, these shows are so charming with their, like, props and their effects, all these practical effects and crazy creatures. It's actually really, really fun to watch these shows, including the Kamen Rider series. I actually did go and sample, like, a lot of the Kamen Rider series myself after Japanese filmmaker Hideaki Anno made his own movie, Shin Kamen Rider, a few years ago, and it gave me an appreciation for the tokusatsu genre. I'm usually an anime guy. I don't really dabble a lot in live action, Japanese popular culture, but this was really cool. And I do recommend actually, like, sampling that if you're as interested in Japanese popular culture as I am. Go check out Kamen Rider. It's on Prime. They actually have the original series on Amazon Prime. Anyway, along comes Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider, which is an anime based on a manga that takes a very comedic approach with the Kamen Rider series. What we have here is a real-life scenario where the main protagonist, Tojima, like a lot of children growing up, fell in love with Kamen Rider. Specifically, the very original Kamen Rider from the 70s. He would watch the VHS tapes of the original 70s Kamen Rider series, and he was, like, so passionate about it that it took over his life. It became a lifelong obsession. He literally wanted to become Kamen Rider. To the point where, he's wrestling in the woods with a freaking grizzly bear. And screaming with tears in his eyes, "Oh, I could take out this bear, but that doesn't make me Kamen Rider. I'm still human. I need to be part cyborg." And the main villains of the Kamen Rider series, by the way, are a bunch of, like, evil dudes in black jumpsuits called the Shocker. Shocker, it's just an organization, and all these guys that work at Shocker, they all have these black jumpsuits, and they look really silly, and they when they power up and transform into their suits and reveal themselves to be Shocker agents, they do this, and they scream, and they're like, "Yeah!" And it's there's lightning flashes, and it's like the most campy thing in the world. Again, this show came out in the 70s, you have to remember that. So, like, you could tell that this show is a labor of love towards that material, because it will have animated footage of, like, reenactments from the actual show. Scenes from the actual show will play out when Tojima is seen in flashbacks watching the show as a kid, and it'll actually recreate scenes directly from the series. So you could tell there's like a lot of love put into this show for Kamen Rider, even though it's really making fun of this guy at the same time because it's so silly. But anyway, this guy wants to be Kamen Rider so bad that he goes out into the streets and looks for criminals to beat up if they're robbing a store or a bank or whatever, you know. He's trying to be a real-life hero. And what he does is he has this plastic mask that he keeps with him. This plastic Kamen Rider mask, you know, with the string in the back that he just puts on his face. And he gets super, super into it with just this dinky plastic mask. And he's like, I am Kamen Rider. And it's amazing. It is amazing. Again, specifically the original Kamen Rider, because like a lot of superheroes, there were different versions of Kamen Rider over the years. There were different versions, like within the canon of the series, a new Kamen Rider would always step in and take over because the other one couldn't fight anymore, or is killed, or something like that. There's always a new version of Kamen Rider, like a version 2, a version 3, and they all have different designs and different outfits, and they all had their own characteristics that separated them. So, like, yeah, pretty cool. And this show also taps into that because along the way in his superhero antics, he meets up with other characters that are just as obsessed with the show as he is. And there are other Kamen Rider characters, not just the Kamen Riders themselves, but there's this one character who is a teacher. She's a school teacher. And we find out that when she's not teaching, she is going out into the streets and also cosplaying as a superhero. Only she gets way more into it than even Tojima does when it comes to the looks, because she actually has a full outfit of a female Kamen Rider character named Tackle, who is like a sidekick from the original series. And she's got like this outfit on that kind of looks like a ladybug, because that was her theme. Like, Kamen Rider had like this grasshopper insect design to his outfit, and she was kind of like, she had like this ladybug thing going on. And she gets into this outfit and goes off and actually like tries to fight crime, like real life, just petty criminals pretending to be Tackle from Kamen Rider. And it's insane. Like, she's super hot too. She's got the big boobies, and one of her classmates is in love with her and fantasizes about what she does when she's not in class and teaching. And he thinks, like, he imagines all this stuff that's like very sophisticated, and oh, she must be a very sophisticated, very like mature adult who has all these nice hobbies, and you know, no, he's shocked to find out that when she's not teaching at night, she runs around in a goofy costume pretending to be a superhero. I say pretending, but not really pretending, because they do beat the crap out of people with nothing but their passion for Kamen Rider. They're not real superheroes. They don't have superpowers, but their passion is so strong that they beat the crap out of people anyway. There's this one Yakuza thug that they come across who is also obsessed with Kamen Rider, but not the heroes, the villains. Shocker. And he is a freaking, again, mid-40s, something like that, Yakuza thug. And he has these subordinates with him that he drags along and forces them to act like Shocker agents and make silly poses before they go and rob convenience stores and stuff. And it's like the pettiest, stupidest thing imaginable, and he's this super serious, gruff Yakuza guy, and he sounds really cool, but it's like he puts on a dinky little mask, you know, a Shocker mask that looks like Shocker. And it's not enough for him to be one of the Shocker agents, because the super tough Shocker guys, the Shocker villains in Kamen Rider, are like monsters. They're like part monster. Some of them are like spider people, some of them are bat people. It's like super campy, but, you know, freaking fun shit. And like all these other characters, he was very influenced by it growing up as a child, to the point that he became obsessed. And so he's obsessed with the villains, and he wants to be a monster. So he puts on a mask and just forces his Yakuza lackeys to go around embarrassingly pretending to be villains as they commit their crimes. And it's so fucking stupid. It's so great. It's so, like, in a good way, obviously. This show is funny as hell, but it also kind of means something, because what drives these characters to be these characters, these heroes or whatever, is their passion. It's just the passion to be these heroes that you looked up to growing up. And here's the thing, spoilers coming up. If you don't want to know more about the show before you watch it yourself, spoilers. About 3 or so episodes in, we find out that there is a real shocker that actually exists in this universe. There is a shocker organization. They do exist. And there seemingly isn't any Kamen Riders around, except for the ones that our goofy adults are pretending to be. Tojima and his gang of other characters that he meets, they all find out that, oh shit, Shocker exists. Oh my god. On the one hand, they're geeking out because they're like, holy shit, we actually have real villains from our favorite series. They exist, and we get to actually be these heroes. On the other hand, holy shit, there's really monsters, and these Shocker agents are real, and they really do want to take over the world, and we have to be the real heroes. And their passion is all they've got. They're not superhuman, but their passion makes them real. And it's kind of funny, because this show could have been just a goofy comedy about these characters just pretending to be superheroes and just going around being goofy and running around in cosplay. It could have just been that. And at first I was thinking, did it need to go there? Did it need to actually turn into a real Kamen Rider show? Yeah, where the heroes are technically just dorky underdogs that think they're the real heroes? It didn't need to do that, but it works. I give it a pass on that, because it actually works. It makes it even more fun, because the show gets to have its cake and eat it too. It gets to celebrate Kamen Rider by actually being a Kamen Rider show in many respects, but also it gets to make fun of it at the same time. It gets to kid it, it gets to, poke fun at it. It's just as much a parody of Kamen Rider as it is a celebration of it. And that's actually pretty cool. That's pretty dope. Like, again, he meets all these other characters. There's two brothers that are both different generations of Kamen Rider, because, again, Tojima is the original Kamen Rider. He prefers to be Kamen Rider 1. He embodies that guy from the original 1970s show. Then there's another guy who is the second Kamen Rider, and he really believes himself to be a second Kamen Rider to the point that he doesn't wear any cosplay. He just does the poses and is so into the poses and the moves that, like, everybody just sees him as Kamen Rider number 2, and they're like, oh shit, he's really got it down. He doesn't even need to wear a mask. And it's really funny. And his little brother is another Kamen Rider that wanted to be the one that his brother is, and they fought all the time as kids to, like, decide who gets to be Kamen Rider 2 or Kamen Rider 3. And it's just great stuff. Like, it's a super funny show. Like, if I haven't made that clear enough already, the animation has some of the most hilarious expressions I've seen in an anime in a long time. Not since, like, Great Teacher Onizuka have I seen an anime with such goofy, hilarious expressions. The characters are all incredibly dorky and silly, but also lovable. And, anybody who's ever had a passion for this kind of stuff, growing up, these kinds of things, these superhero things or whatever, it's very easy to, like, root for these characters. They're very lovable. And, I like the underlying theme of the show. As funny and goofy as it is, there is an underlying theme that's actually kind of heartwarming. Where, like, yeah, if you believe in something enough, if you are passionate about something enough, it becomes reality. Much in the same way that Kamen Rider itself, this version of it, this anime comedy of Kamen Rider, becomes the real Kamen Rider in a sense. Because these characters embody them so much that they might as well be Kamen Rider, even if they are just wearing a silly, dinky plastic mask. It gets to the point in the series where you're just like, yeah, no, these are just superheroes at this point, no matter how much they may actually just be ordinary humans. But then again, if you could take out a grizzly bear in the woods and you're still not convinced you're a Kamen Rider, I mean, that's dedication right there. That guy's working really hard to be Kamen Rider, I'll tell you. So no matter how old you get, guys, you can't give up on your dreams. Tojima didn't, and I love this show. Great show. Great anime. Again, it's on Crunchyroll. You can watch it on there. It's about 9 episodes in right now. So go check it out if you haven't. And if you have seen it already, let me know what you think about it in the comments. And until next time, guys, you get to burning and live for the passion.